Pinnacle tier. We're here for round 5 in Austria, and alongside me I've got Austin.
Yeah, Pinnacle tier here, and this is going to be a fun one. The Red Bull Ring. We've got just 4.3 kilometers, one of the shortest permanent circuits, at least, on the calendar. Obviously, we had Monaco last week, which was the very shortest circuit of them all in the world, arguably, but no, certainly among the F1 circuits. But this is going to be the shortest lap, not in terms of distance, but really in terms of time. We're looking at 1 minute 2.
Yeah, it's a really quick lap, and we expect a really tight qualifying session. I'm Jamie, by the way. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention my name in the intro, but yeah, here we are. And yeah, obviously, Louis, off his win last week, he's won 4 of the first 5 races. You've got to say he's got a commanding leading championship, and you have to say he's got one hand on his 3rd world title already.
Yeah, but one thing that needs to be said is we have a guy here called Zach, and he was the only one to break Louis' winning streak. Unfortunately, Zach is only able to make, I think, 5 of our 10 races this season, because he is a real-life French F4 driver, and so obviously he has plenty of commitments in that regard, but he can make the race tonight. Will be his 3rd race of the season. And we'll see how it goes. As I said, he was the only one to beat Louis so far this season. Other than that, Louis has been absolutely dominant. 3 wins and a 2nd place. And I mean, he's been dominant ever since he joined OneHub. And if you look at his, you look at his stats: 39 finishes, 39 points finishes, 38 podiums. If he sees the checkered flag, the man's getting a podium.
Yeah. Well, you think Lewis Hamilton's dominant in Formula 1 nowadays, but that's another level. That's just incredible. The guy, he's on 823 points as well, so he might be pushing 1,000 points by this season the way he's going. And yeah, but I've just mentioned a couple of guys who had good races last week. Obviously, Nikita, he got 2nd place, a good result for him. And Cliffy is a very experienced driver in OneHub, but he hasn't had the best of season so far. But that was a good podium from last week. Obviously, helped by the limited attendance, but as you say, you've got to take advantage when people don't show up, and he did for sure. And I think Cliffy will take a lot of confidence from that race.
Yeah, I mean, for Cliffy, not just did he get 3rd place and did he get another podium, which he is now tied with Midnight for the 2nd most podiums in this tier among all the drivers in the Pinnacle tier at 24 podiums. So he tied Midnight with that last week. But also, I mean, you look at in what time frame he did it. It's been 41 races that he has finished and 24 podiums. It's just that he almost never wins, but he's always there. He has 3 wins to his name in his OneHub career, but he's always 2nd or 3rd. He's always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, he had a reputation for that. Back in season 9, I believe he finished season 9. I believe he finished 2nd about 8 times. He finished 2nd a lot of races. His teammate Lyle Blade, he won a lot of the races, and there were drivers like MLA and Jono won a lot of races back then. But yeah, Cliffy was Mr. Consistent, and he won the championship for Manor in season 10 as well. So he's got a lot of pedigree in this league, and he's looking good for another constructors title this season, as we've got a couple of new drivers tonight, I believe.
Yeah, we have 3 new drivers, in fact. We have Skeven, who dropped out. For him, it's a Romanian driver. That's something we haven't seen in OneHub all too much, so always happy to see a new nationality on the grid. TTG Alex 44 will be stepping into the Ferrari. And then Alfa Romeo have just said, you know what, we need a whole new team. They've dropped both Harry BR25 and SOA Hamilton 44. Their team now is Dan Murphy 92 and Knowlesy ATK, both British drivers. All 3 drivers completely new to OneHub. They've never raced at OneHub before. They're all new, and it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. All 3 are on the grid, although oh no, they're all in the right car. I thought, because the red of Dan Murphy's car in P6 and the red of TTG Alex's car looks so similar. It could be my bad eyesight because I'm old, but it looked to me like they were both in the Ferrari. But no, Dan is actually in the Alfa Romeo he's supposed to be in. And let's quickly add all the fun stuff here. All right, who's the first one out? We have one car, Midnight, choosing to go on to medium. Zach is the first one out.
Yeah.
The Frenchman in the Haas. Very odd combination. You'd expect a French driver to try and go for the Renault, but Renault, Renault does have one French driver, in IGK Raikkonen, but their second driver is a Dutch driver in VRT Compassion, who is not here tonight.
No, Zach actually, he was left without teammates, so I had to team up with a driver, and I thought the Keto would be a good driver to team up, because obviously Zach was the quickest driver in qualifying night, and he showed that with his win. He was winning his last race he started as qualifying's begun, and I think Zach's the first guy to start that, so we go on board with him in the Haas. This track's got 10 corners, but 7 of them only really count. This is going to come through the final corner now on soft tyres, so expect a really quick time now. It's got a lot of undulation, this track. It's quite a test. It looks easy enough, but the curbs around here are quite lethal, and I expect to see a lot of validations tonight.
Yeah, you want to extend the track limits to the best of your abilities. Oftentimes you will see cars with really only 2 tires, 2 wheels inside the white lines. And the more you're able to sort of leave the track as much as possible, the more you're going to be able to, to sort of broaden the track and therefore carry more speed through the corners. As we're already through half of the corners here. This is turn 5, considered turn 5, now heading towards turn 6. One of the 2 left-hand corners, really, on this track. 3 officially, but turn 2 doesn't really count. No one ever counts turn 2. This is a tricky spot right here for invalidation. You saw that there, how much he was struggling with understeer out of turn 7. If you run onto the curb, turn 8, and that's the invalidation. In turn 9 right there on the exit, another big spot. Basically, every corner you can invalidate. Turn 1, exit. Turn 3, that's the only one where you can't really do it. I mean, that's tricky to do at the best of times in turn 3. Because a hairpin, it's so slow, you want to straighten the car out early so you don't run wide there. But turn 4, if you get all 4 wheels on the curb, that's that. Turn 6 on the exit, if you run too wide, that's that. Turn 7, if you run too wide on the exit onto the curb of 8, that's that. And then the exit of turn 9 and the exit of turn 10 as well. So this is a minefield right here of track or lap invalidation.
Expect to see a lot of penalties tonight for sure. As I'm going to mention the stewards report. Obviously, every week we have the stewards report, and there's actually going to be 2 new rules in effect from tonight's race. The first rule is a glitch. We've had him mainly in my tier, the prospect tier, where it's a known glitch of the game where if you disconnect for the formation lap and rejoin on the formation lap, then the race does not start. You're sort of stuck on the grid for a few minutes. So now it's going to be illegal to join during the formation lap, rejoin during the formation lap, and have to wait till that process is complete, so we can have a more clear race start where we're not delaying people. And also another rule is where behind the safety car, you're not allowed to look back. Well, if you look back behind the safety car in the mirrors and you get a penalty for crashing the car head, your penalty will not get removed. And I think them 2 rules make complete sense.
Yeah, I think so as well. And another rule that has come in just for this track is the pit entry. You have, obviously, if you look, let's go on board with Cliffy here. He's getting there. And he's going to take the pit entry. But if you look closely, he's letting someone by, I think. Yep, indeed. Yeah, there's someone coming across. That's IGK Gill. And you see, here's the line. Now, hold on. Where is it? There it is. There it is. Oh, he stays out for another lap.
Yeah, Phoebe.
Interesting.
Yeah,
but you saw the line there. And there are sort of 2 ways to go about this. And you could either say you have to stick to the line on pit entry, just like you have to stick to the line on pit exit. Or do whatever you want. Because this is a tricky pit entry, because it's in this high-speed section of turns 9 and 10. Where you want to carry as much speed as possible, and you have to slow down sort of mid-corner. What the stewards said, the stewards briefing, made it clear that the drivers are allowed to take whatever line they want to on pit entry, as long as they stay on track, obviously. But they do not have to stick to the white line on pit entry. And as much as I understand this, I think it's overestimating Not the drivers. These are the Pinnacle drivers. These are the best drivers of the best. But I think it's overestimating the cars, because you have to start slowing down mid-corner, and that can always lead to some issues. If you tell them to stick to the white line and you know, take the white line and then have to stay within it, at least they are making their intentions clear before the corner, and that way you can plan if you're behind. That way you know, oh, he's taking to the inside, he doesn't want to defend. You don't defend this corner. It's not an overtaking opportunity, really, all too much, because the straight before it is too short. And so you know, okay, he's going to the inside, he's making his intentions known, and you can plan. So I understand where they're coming from, but I feel like, personally, I don't want to criticize them too much, because, you know, maybe I'm wrong. That could always be the case. But I think they're overestimating the abilities of the cars a little bit. And so, personally, in my opinion, but again, there are two ways about this. There are good arguments. I'm really just playing devil's advocate here. I would have told the drivers to stick to that white line, but the stewards said you are allowed to disregard the white line on pit entry. On pit exit, obviously, that has to be adhered to.
Yeah, and the pit exit round here is quite difficult. It's one of the action points of this race, because it is quite. I noticed in my race tonight, it's quite slippy in there. You may get a car that may, especially if it's in a wreck race, you may get a car there which may have a slight bit of understeer and steer into that wall and pick a bit of wing damage. I doubt it of these Pinnacle drivers, but you never know, as Louis has been validated his lap on mediums, as Midnight's on pole position with a 102.6, so both Red Bulls on pole, but I don't think we've seen the true pace of these drivers yet.
Yeah, looking at the times, 1 minute 2.6 being the best one right now. With the way the track evolves over time, I think we will see some better times here. The expected pole time is around a 1 minute 2.2, so we are going to most likely get a lot lower here. And considering that, for example, Zach is now starting a lap, as he invalidated his first one, he's going on to a new run here in his Haas. I think we will see some improvements there. Samster goes P2, breaking up the Red Bulls there, and making it a nice Red Bull Mercedes checkered first two rows.
Yeah, that goes purple in Sector 1, but Sector 1, it's only one corner. Sector 1 isn't really the corner where you define the time. It's more Sector 2 where you sort of figure out how the map's going.
Yeah, but being purple in Sector 1 is already pretty good. I mean, that means you took Turn 1 better than anyone else.
Yeah, he got a good run out of there, yeah. Zach, this looks a good lap, and Samster, yeah. I expected better from this season. I thought he'd do better. He struggled, I think, for consistency.
Who did?
Samster this season.
Oh, yeah, Samster. Well, actually, looking at his results, I don't think he did. P9, P6, P8. I mean, that is consistent. It's not the best, and I think Samster has more potential in him.
Yeah,
but it is consistent. That is certainly the case. But yeah, I think he could be better. I mean, top 5 results. That's usually where he lives. I mean, out of 57 times he finished a one-hub race, he's been in the points 54 times. He's on the podium 21 times. So usually around the top 5 is where he ends up. Sometimes inside the top 3 and on the podium. Sometimes around P4, P5, P6. And he's just not been there this season so far. Maybe this one can be his one where he finally gets that done. It certainly looks like it right now. P4, 1 minute 2.7. Zach has indeed gotten that provisional pole position. It's an IGK 1-2, in fact, with Gil in second now. 1 minute 2.4 for Zach, 1 minute 2.5 for Gil, as Zach now heads back to the pit lane. So, yeah, so far looking good for the French drivers here. And let's see what Louis in the pit lane. So who else we got here?
Yeah. And Raikkonen's on a lap.
Yeah.
He's come out Sector 1, and so's Knowsley.
Oh, yellow flag.
Yeah, I think we've got a slow Ferrari. It's Alex, I think he's on
Yeah.
He's backed out of his lap, so he's just getting out the way of everybody. And Knowles is on a lap here. He's on the 15.9 in the first sector, a couple of tenths off the best. And he's on the 28.5 in the second. This could put him about a second off pole, I reckon.
For some reason, it doesn't count. Oh, no, there it is now. Yeah, pretty much 1.2 seconds. Yeah, pretty good estimate there. Yeah. I want to check on Alex here. Does he have some sort of issue? Because he's going really slow.
Alex...
Is that front wing still on? Because now it's in... Oh, he took out the speed limit, the pit limit board.
Slash has got wing damage. I know, Slash has got wing damage. He's got 100% wing damage, so it says on the task here, so...
Yeah.
So he's going to have come in the pits. So is Cliffy, but I believe Cliffy's in the pits, so he maybe didn't show his true pace in his lap there, as Glock's about to finish up on the medium, while he's on the softs now. This was a good lap. This could put him in the top 4, I reckon, this lap, if he gets it in.
Yeah, and just to catch up, Alex did not have any wing damage. The only drivers who did get some sort of wing damage were MMA Slash and Cliffy. And Cliffy is obviously now in the pit lane and is changing his wing. Slash is now coming in and will be changing his wing in the pit, in the garage shortly.
Keith was on a good lap here. He's a couple of attempts off Zach in the first 2 seconds. He might join his fellow teammate in the first couple of rows here. He gets a good run at the final corner. What will this be for the Haas driver? 5th place, only 3 attempts off pole. Good lap there for the kid. He's having a real revitalisation of form at the moment.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you look at his last results, and a 5th and a 2nd place. That's what you would expect him to be. Getting his 6th podium last week in Monaco. And he's really finding himself, I would say, at this point. As we're looking at Louis right now, he's on a lap, hasn't invalidated it yet. Midnight, meanwhile, going fastest. Can't even read that time. Purple, hard to read, but it is a 1 minute 2.4. Yeah, it is a 1 minute 2.4. So 300ths faster than Zach. And Louis now coming through the final 2 corners. No invalidation. You see just 2 wheels on the track. It's amazing how precise these drivers have to be. In 1 minute 2.7, 1,000th of a second quicker than Samster. It's exactly what he had to do to get to P4. Otherwise, he would have been P5.
Yeah, that's what set this competition. Set these really tight times, and I wouldn't be surprised if 3 of these guys have the exact same time. We had it in the prospect here with 2 drivers, and I'm not surprised to see the same here. And speaking of Samster, Mercedes were in the team press conference this week, and I was asked about the 2 Pinnacle drivers, how they weren't pulling the weight compared to the other teams. And I mentioned the fact that these 2, they've had breaks away and they've been a bit rusty, and I think they're starting to get back in the swing of things, and Samster definitely is for that lap. He's only 3 times off pole, and he's looking right on song here this week.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the driver in the driver's press conference for the Pinnacle tier was Larkin. And he was asked about when we will see him on the top step. So, already a little bit of a, maybe a visionary question there, but needs to be said, Larkin hasn't even scored a podium so far in one up. He's only had 10 races that he finished. We got to be fair to him. His best result was the P4 in Monaco last week, but he was asked, and he responded, I think, I don't know if it's realistic. I think we should see him on the podium. I expect it this season, at least once. Maybe not the top step, but on the podium once. But he said, I think you might be waiting a long time. It's not going to get any better than the P4. I think he could be in for a top 3. Maybe not tonight, but certainly at some point this season. He's been so good, so consistent. He's got a 5th place in Belgium as well. Oh, sorry, an 8th place at Belgium, 8th place at France, and a 5th place at the season opener. He's always been there. He's always had a good points result, culminating in the 4th place last week. I reckon he always sets himself up for good positions. Why not a podium at some point?
Yeah, especially if you get a bit of a chaos ahead. If he can keep his nose clean, avoid these penalties, and just avoid the chaos, and the late safety car, he definitely could get a podium.
Dan Murphy was in the wall, I think. Did he get damage from that? I think he did. Let me open the TAS. Yes, he did. Yeah, he on the straight. We caught it on camera, and then I switched away, not realizing what was happening. Then I came back, and yeah, he's got front wing damage.
Yeah, I was on board with him actually. He came across the line. I believe he ran out of fuel across the line, so he's got no fuel left. So his qualifying's done. As we've only got 2 minutes going to qualify for him. All the quick guys coming out now for their last shot of pole position. Obviously, if you validate your first lap, you can maybe get your second lap in, but the tyres will not be perfect.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm seeing that there's still 3 drivers in the pit lane. We have Louis, Cliffy, and Knowlesy. Knowlesy now making his way out. There's the 2 Williams side by side, Louis and Cliffy. This is definitely in time. But drivers have started their laps. Zach, Samster, Glock, Matt, and Slash and Raikkonen have all started their lap. Raikkonen right now, 1 minute 16. He must have made a huge mistake. But we're looking at Zach. This could be the pole time right here. If he gets this one down to a T. Through turn 4 he goes. We have, what is this, Gil? Why is he... He's about, yeah, that's what the yellow means. Yeah, I forgot. Oh, there's the car. Oh, that's a yellow flag. That doesn't hurt the drivers here. Obviously, it does in the real F1, but it doesn't here. They are still allowed to continue their lap. But that's... It's always...
Zach will improve here.
Yeah, 11,000th of a second. He was down after 2 sectors. Through the final corner, can he improve? Yes, but not enough to take pole position off of Midnight right now. Midnight, meanwhile, has invalidated. Gil has invalidated. Louis is still on his outlap. Samster is the one coming through the last corner right now, and he is 8.5 seconds down, but he's starting his lap now. I think he may have invalidated his last one or something. Lakitu has invalidated. Jesus, everyone has invalidated. Here comes Larkin across the line. He has not. And it is a 1 minute 2.7. Up to P6 he goes. See, he's setting himself up for some good results once again.
Yeah, Raikkonen's on a good lap. He made you put the order. Yeah, he's up to 6th place. That's a good lap there for Raikkonen. There's Samster's on a lap. Can he get pole position? It's going to be difficult for him. He's going to be by 3/10. What about Louis? He's invalidated. So Louis can only do 4th place. He can't do any better than that.
Yeah, meanwhile, Midnight has invalidated his second attempt as well. So for Midnight, qualifying's over. For Zach, qualifying's over. Gil is still running. He has not invalidated yet. He has not left the track yet. Oh, big lock up in the turn 4 there from the Frenchman. What's the time going to say? We'll see after this corner right here. Matt retires meanwhile. We see Samster come across the line in P3 and a 10th down, Gil. A 10th down, he might not improve. And even if he does, if he finds 2 tenths in this final sector, he would remain in P4, and he has invalidated now. So that is his qualifying over. Raikkonen moved up to P6. Larkin is in P7, goes into the pit lane. Lakitu now coming across through the final 2 corners. Glock retires in P10. Can Lakitu improve?
He's up.
Yes, P5. That's a fantastic last-ditch effort there. Could have had P4 with 0.02 of a second more, but in the end it is P5 for him, and that is the qualifying over, and it's quite an interesting result, I have to say. To see the championship leader, Louis, in P6 is not something we see all too often, is it?
Yeah, and obviously with Austria infamous for its DRS trains, Louis may get stuck in the pack a little bit in the race, so he may have to think about something. He may want to get a good start, but it's such a short one to turn on. The start's difficult, and he's on the inside on the grid, which is not where you want to be. So Louis may have a difficult start here. And Midnight, what a lap by him! Midnight has won here twice in the past. He's going for number 3, and what a way to start that campaign.
Yeah, very much so. Certainly someone who has enjoyed his fair share around this track, and considering his season so far, I mean, it's just been, it's really the only way to describe it, I think, is awful. He's got a 6th place in Belgium. That was his best result. Other than that, 3 DNFs, 3 retirements for the man. You gotta feel for him. He's had, before this season, he's had 1 retirement in his whole one-hub career. He's never had back-to-back retirements either, and then he, shows up for the first 2 races this season. Retirement, and I have to say, I really do feel for him. But this time he can all undo this with a win, bringing this one home, lights a flag victory maybe. he can undo all of that bad luck that he had so far this season. Here is the qualifying result. Midnight on pole position. Zach with him on the front row. Samster, Gil, Lakitu, Louis in P6, Riken in 7, Larkin, Matt, Glock, Cliffy, / Nosey, Alex, Konzo, and Dan Murphy. The whole grid separated by only 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, and if you look at that, down at ninth place, half a second, that's incredible. So we should expect a tight race tonight. But what's Rev going to do? Obviously, dry qualifying, I do expect a dry race. Judging by them lap times, I didn't see anybody gambling the wet setup, and it is a dry race. It is dry,
yeah. If the times had been a little bit more off than they were, we saw 1 minute 2.4 as the pole time. If it had been a 1 minute 2.8 maybe, 1 minute 2.7, I would have suspected rain, but with a 1 minute 2.4, it was certainly still within that sort of range of where we would expect the pole times to be. The higher 1 minute 2s, or the lower, I should say, obviously the better 1 minute 2s, let's say that, and that's where they ended up. So it seems to be dry, at least for the race start. I reckon the weather here in the Austrian hills and mountains is gonna be just fine.
Yeah, it's a beautiful region of the Austria around in the Styrian Alps, and obviously this race has been racing at this circuit on and off since 1997. Obviously it raced before then at a different layout, which was the same track, but it was a lot longer. This shortened layout, which is just 1997, it offers good close racing as we're about to get underway. And I'll quickly mention our sponsor, Next Level Racing. Obviously this season, they're offering a prize again in wheel stand, but this time it's the winner of the Going Gets Tough Award. Now the Going Gets Tough Award is an award where if you finish outside top 3 in the championship and answer all your pre and post race interview questions, and also finish it and start every single race, you're in with a shout of this award. And there's 11 drivers left in that, so I'm not out in. I think I'm out of it already. So I hope somebody enjoys that prize. I hope somebody else enjoys that prize.
Yeah.
I think I missed it somewhere.
I know I'm out because I'm not participating. I'm not competing, so I know I'm out. But we also want to thank our other sponsor, Liam13, for providing the trophies for the top 3 at the end of the season for all the tiers. So thank you very much to Liam13 as well. So look at the tires. Top 10 obviously on the softs. They qualified on that. Outside, Cliffy, Slash, and Konzo, 11, 12, 15 on the mediums. And Nosey, Alex, and Dan, the Ferrari-powered cars outside the top 10. Interesting dynamic, I have to say. All on the softs. I don't think it has anything to do with their power unit, but certainly interesting to see here. And it might throw up some issues for the Alfa Romeo boys, because 2 drivers on the same strategy, and both of them new to One Hub. I don't think they're communicating, so...
No.
They might actually ruin each other's strategy, or one might ruin the other's strategy. So they're going to have to watch out for that.
Yeah, we do expect strategy to be 1 set of mediums, 2 sets of softs. And also, speaking of that, Konzo was asking the pre-race questions. Have you got any plan for turn 1? He said, try not to crash. Well, he's at the back of the grid, so I expect quite a slow start from Konzo, just to avoid any incidents.
Yeah, turn 1, certainly one here. Because you have such a long run up, and then it's really tightening up to turn 1, that there can always be incidents, there can always be issues as the drivers are taking their grid slots right now. We are getting ready. Here we go.
Yeah, 5 red lights coming on. Midnight on pole. Zach in second. Can Zach get the jump?
Here come the lights. 5, and we are underway. And Midnight is getting a good start. He stays ahead. Oh, Samster already all over the back of him, but is blocked in there. And now Zach maybe trying to get a better run, and Zach takes the lead, at least temporarily. Midnight in second, Samster third. Now we have Gil in fourth. And this is all tightening up again. Zach keeps the inside. Midnight on the outside. They leave each other some room, but Zach gets the better run out of turn 3 and now avoids the slipstream. Tries to not give Midnight the toe and keeps the lead into P4. There's Samster down the inside. Bad camera angle there. Thanks, Codemasters, for that one. But Samster takes the position. Gil slips through as well. The 2 Red Bulls side by side. No, Midnight keeps the position. Midnight keeps the position, so that's the top 4. Not much has changed. In the background, meanwhile, Glock gained 3 positions. The McLaren with a lightning start. And Larkin, we talked so much about it. We talked him up a little bit. Well, he's lost 3 positions.
Yeah, Glock's got a penalty already on lap 1. That's incredible. No damage on lap 1, so a clean start, which is fair play to these guys. As they've got a bit of a glitch. You've got Raikkonen who's jumping up to 3rd place, so that's not good.
Yeah, no damage. Although no damage is not true. Alex, oh, there's something going on. There's something going on. Louis has spun. Louis has spun around. Louis down to P15, and Alex has damage. His right front wing. We have yellow flags in sectors 1 and 2. There's something else going on here. What is happening? Jesus.
Alex is a long way back there.
Yeah, Glock has made a mistake apparently as well. So Glock has now dropped behind Louis. And they're way down. So they have a whole task in front of them now as Zach leads the way ahead of Samster, then Midnight, Gil, Lakitu, and a long train there that really ends sort of at P13 at Dan Murphy.
Yeah, the whole field and the DRS train, apart from the free back being detached. Louis has got no damage, so he'll stay out, and I expect to see him. But how far can he progress his DRS train? That's going to really affect his race. I expect to see an aggressive strategy from Louis to try and get back in this race.
Yeah, meanwhile, I would expect TTG Alex to go into the pit lane rather shortly, as he has damage. In fact, not just any damage. His whole right side of the front wing is gone. Yeah, and indeed, he's coming in now.
100% damage.
Yep. So completely gone there. Thankfully, all the drivers have set up their telemetry system correctly, so we will get data from all of them, and we will keep you updated on all of that. Quite interesting thing to note here. We can't say too much, but I can tell you this much. All the drivers enjoy over-fueling the car at the start of the race. They like to play around, at least around this track, where obviously straights are aplenty, and corners not that many. A lot of drivers like to play around with the rich fuel mix, and like to play around with a little bit of fuel during the race.
Yeah, it's Raikkonen's got a penalty. I expected that bottom screen flash up like, yeah. Obviously, with the lack of corners, the least amount of corners on any F1 circuit. Yeah, and obviously, winning the aggressive fuel modes means you get a little more straight line speed. So you're not punished with fuel around here like you are, say, at a track like, say, at Hungary, for example. So yeah, Samster's looking really aggressive on Zach here. Samster's fancying this race win, I think.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's still early. I think the goal for these drivers is to try and pull a gap somewhere, anywhere in this long train. I think we may have it, where there's a huge gap now between Raikkonen and Matt, over almost 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But there's also a gap in front of Raikkonen of over a second. So if he drops off the DRS train, we might have a 5-way battle here between the two Haas, the two Red Bulls, and Samster.
Yeah, that'd be really good to see. Obviously, Samster, he's not been at the front that long, but yeah, the other four guys, they've been fighting front all season. Yeah, and Matt, I know Matt and Sam do communicate. I wonder if Matt is playing a bit of a tactical game here. Maybe driving with himself a little bit, saving the tyres a little bit, maybe eliminating a couple of cars like Cliff on the medium tyres, who, he's had a really good start, Cliffy. Obviously, he had the free choice, and he's going to be on for another good race, as Louis is slowly catching the back of Dan Murphy. He'll be on the back of him in a couple of laps.
Yeah, but I have to say, I would be a bit surprised if anyone here really needed to save tyres. I mean, one of the benefits of this track, with its only 10 corners, is that the tyres aren't really worn out too much by this. I mean, you can't really, they don't wear out that much. You can take these soft tyres up to 16 laps. You can take the mediums up to 21 laps. The hard tyres will not be used here today, I can tell you this much. Especially with our mandatory 2-stop rule, they are very much useless. In a 1-stop scenario, they might actually come out in a soft to hard scenario. If you're really unsure about your own tire wear, then you'll go soft to hard. But soft to medium is possible around here, and arguably faster. But the hard tires are really just useless. You want to go 2 stints on the softs, because the softs also not only do they last 16 laps, which is almost half the race. But also, they are 0.8 of a second quicker per lap than the mediums. That's how slow the mediums are. The mediums themselves are only 0.4 quicker than the hards. So the difference is really, really stark between the softs and the other two compounds. They are that much faster. So we want to see, or the drivers, not we want to see, but the drivers want to use the soft tires for 2 stints and the mediums for 1.
Yeah, I noticed that in my race this evening. I noticed that I did my first stint of softs, and when I put the medium on, I didn't even beat my personal best on fresh medium compared to on softs. And at the end, I was flying. As Larkin, whilst you were interested there, Larkin overtook Cliffy, and that was in the back of Matt. I think Larkin is desperate to get past Matt and try and somehow catch up as midnight pits.
That is early. That is early. That is really, really early here. Lap 6. The pit window for the soft runners opens lap 10. And he goes on to mediums. You said it. You just said it. You went from softs to mediums, and you didn't even beat your personal best. Maybe this is an undercut attempt from Midnight going wrong. If he's slower, again, 0.8, and those softs are not worn out yet for the front runners. So I really questioned this one from Midnight. Maybe it's the undercut attempt on everyone, but it might be a bit early.
Yeah. And he's also not got the benefit of DRS. Yeah, he's got clear air, but he's not the benefit of DRS. And the DRS will give you a couple of attempts a lap. So yeah, that I can understand why. I can understand why he's taking the gamble, because he's not really in the championship hunt. But yeah, I think that might be a mistake. Because Louis got a time penalty, which is not going to help the recovery. His Glock's overtaken him. So Louis must have made a mistake as he's spun and he's got damage. So Louis is having a bit of a dreadful race tonight.
Let's see if anyone follows in. No. All the drivers stay out. No one is pitting. Although, never mind. Matt is pitting. So we do have at least one driver coming in. But Matt was not in a battle with Midnight. Midnight was in this top 5, now top 4 group. And we are obviously monitoring the gap to the leaders. And it's 19.9 seconds now for Midnight. We'll have to see as here comes Gil on Samster. Gets the position up to P2. He goes, I think that Samster did not have DRS, and Louis retires. Louis out. Retired in the pit lane. Yeah. Wow. That is a bombshell. Louis, the first retirement of this race.
Yeah, that really opens up the potential for the likes of Zach to try and somehow get back in his championship punt, as Louis has left the session. Obviously, a dreadful race for him. He had to be spun twice. I'm not sure what happened the second time. I sort of missed it, but he spun it coming out of turn 5. So I reckon, as Alex is out as well.
Yeah.
So both of them
also
guys
retired in the pit lane.
The no safety car is a lot of the leads pitting now. Zach in that stage, he did get away from Sam's DRS, but all these guys are now going for quite an early stop. Just about in the pit window for an aggressive undercut. Now, where will Midnight fall on all this? Will he be ahead of Samster or not?
Yeah, I mean, well, look at the IGK guys. There's Zach and Raikkonen. Gil is in, obviously, but the other two IGK drivers, they're just doing their laps. And for Zach, this might be good. He was not getting any DRS anyway. He was the leader the whole time. So he wasn't getting DRS anyway. So for him, this is just... everyone else in his mirrors now disappeared, and that's more a relieving feeling than anything. As Gil now has left the session, that is probably not under his own power, and he is allowed to rejoin. But obviously that hurts him significantly, because now the AI takes over his car, and the AI is significantly slower than he is. So that is definitely going to cost him some time. Let's hope he'll be able to rejoin. We have a yellow flag in Sector 3. That is...
Look at him. Oh no, it's Zach. Zach's off.
Oh, wow, yes, Zach is off. Zach losing 3 positions here. What has happened there?
I think he just lost it, and I think he might have just lost it on the grab, got wheel on the curb and spun him around. I've done that a few times, but I don't expect to see Zach do that. And look at the undercut Midnight got on Sammy, 6 seconds in the lead. That's a massive undercut.
Yeah, the 6 seconds over, almost 7.
Yeah,
that is incredible. So maybe the undercut did work out in his favour.
Cliffy's got the move done on Slash for the lead, but these guys still yet to pit. But yeah, how on earth has Midnight got that amount of undercut? That's incredible. As Raikkonen actually comes out in second place on the soft tyres ahead of Samster. So Raikkonen expecting to close the gap on Midnight on these soft tyres.
Yeah, however, I think Midnight might lose some of that gap to Raikkonen. Obviously, Raikkonen now on the soft, so he should be able to close that gap over time until he pits for his second and final pit stop. Gap right now 6 seconds, and Zach in net 5th.
So Zach, he's lost some ground, but he's still in contention. He's still in contention for a possible podium, maybe in the win here, despite that mistake, which he must have had some really quick. He must have been really pushing on his in-lap, and maybe the tyres just let go. I reckon that's what might have happened.
Yeah, meanwhile, here comes Dan Murphy. I reckon he will rejoin behind Larkin, maybe in front of Gill. Gonna have to wait and see. This could get really close with Gill here, really. He might join just behind. Good pit stop there from the Alfa Romeo crew. Looking at it, Dan Murphy, that was a 2.5 second pit stop, so pretty much a box standard average pit stop. There is Gill. So he rejoined in front of Gill as expected, as I projected, and who needs AWS graphics when you have me?
Your pit looks bad there, but Gildor is still a good car, and I believe the AI is set to 90%, which is very low, so expect him to be in last place.
It certainly is low for these drivers. I gotta say, if I was replaced by 90% AI, I wouldn't be too bad.
Same.
But for these drivers, obviously, 90% AI is a little bit too slow, and so he definitely loses some time here. As he is now basically been overtaken by Glock any moment now. Should happen here. There it is. That's another thing that we have to watch out for, obviously, as a driver or as an AI gets overtaken. They tend to move out of the way, whereas obviously a real-life driver is going to fight this. And we saw that right there. Gill's AI just suddenly starts twitching around and moving out of the way, whereas... You know, if Gill was still driving A, he probably wouldn't be under that much pressure because he is faster than the AI, but he'd also not move out of the way like this.
Yeah, Zach's got moved on and Matt into turn 3 there, so he's up into a net 4th place. Samster is 2 seconds ahead of Raikkonen. He's closing this gap by a second a lap. He's really flying at this stage, and he won't be too long to the back of that Red Bull, but how long can he make them softs last? They should go to around lap 22, and then maybe pit a set of mediums to the end as noses in. He took them softs a long way, 12 laps.
Yeah, pretty long stint, but we'll see where he comes out. I was not able to catch his gap to the leader when he started, or when he pitted, so I was not able to sort of give you an estimate of where he's going to rejoin, but I reckon right around where Glock is.
Yeah, it's going to be tight, because Glock's got the faster line in turn 1, but I think he should be ahead.
Yep. He's ahead by just under, now over a second, but it's going to come down slightly, so under a second. It's Lakitu and Matt are battling it out over 8th place. There goes Lakitu for the switchback. Matt, however, has it, but here comes the DRS, and I think Lakitu is going to have this one. Yep, makes it stick before the braking zone. That's about as easy as you can get it. And Lakitu now up to P8. Meanwhile, Zach and Samster have sort of checked out from this group. Same with Raikkonen. None of them getting DRS off of each other. It's really just Lakitu and Matt here battling over what is a net P5 right now. And that's really it.
The Midnight gets a penalty, which is not going to help in his cause. Yeah, and I believe Matt, he pitted the lap early. He got quite a big undercut because he came out right behind Samson at his pit stop, but now he's dropped back through the field. And Dan Murphy, on his debut, last minute call up, he's in 10th place. And he's got to have a run on Matt here. He's got fresh softs compared to Matt's old medium. So Dan, I've done a good race here. And short notice.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a new driver and you get placed in the Pinnacle tier, there's usually a good reason for that. Dan is showing that right now. But Dan obviously still has the... let me quickly check to make sure that I'm not telling nonsense. Yeah, Dan still has the medium tyres left to go.
Yeah.
He started on the softs. He's still on the softs. He needs to get the mediums out of the way at some point. It has to be his final stint because he's already pitted once like everyone at this point, except the top 3. They are still out there on their starting mediums. They started in, what was it, P11, P12, and P15. Yeah. Cliffy 11th, 12th, Konzo 15th.
Yeah, Midnight's getting these guys about a second a lap, so a couple of laps Midnight in back of him, and you have to get through these cars pretty quickly because Raikkonen he's catching slowly. Raikkonen's catching, but I think his pace is dropping off a little bit. I think these softs are starting to get a little bit of wear, but they still should do good lap times, another 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, not surprising considering that obviously the soft tyre lifespan is shorter, and so every single lap, the delta between the two of them, the difference between the two of them goes down 10th by 10th by 10th. Yes, fresh softs to fresh mediums, 0.8 of a second difference. But obviously once they both get used and they both do their laps, that gap comes down 7/10, 6/10, 5/10, 4/10, and then all of a sudden you get near the end of your stint and, you know, they're basically equally useless.
Yeah, Zach Cliffy's got another penalty. Cliffy's got 9 seconds penalties. He's in the pits, and Konzo's staying out, so he's going for a lap. These guys.
Oh, Cliffy a 5 second as well for speeding in the pit lane. Was not able to slow down for the line. So not only does Cliffy now have 9 seconds, but he also has a 5 second penalty for the speeding in the pit lane. He's not the only one, by the way. Yeah, there's another driver who will serve it at his next pit stop, and that is IGK Zach. So his next pit stop will cost him 5 more seconds. So he will lose 23 seconds, whereas everyone else loses 18.
Yeah, so that makes this chase off of Samsa so crucial. He's caught the back of Samsa, and you want to dispatch his Mercedes as quick as possible, because you can see them front two starting to pull away a little bit. But yeah, see, Zach, despite that spin, he hasn't lost that much time considering.
Yeah, but there will be the 5 seconds that he will be also losing, so that's going to hurt him arguably more than that spin, as Konzo now coming into the pit lane. He is actually adhering to that white line on pit entry. He doesn't have to.
Yeah, it's losing some time, but
it's I think it's a courtesy thing, honestly. If I was racing, I would still do it, just to, again, it's the same thing as in real traffic. If you're actually driving on the road with a normal car, you know, with a normal road car, you want to make your intentions clear to all the other drivers. And so that's what Konzo's doing here by showing, hey, I'm taking the pit entry line, I'm making my intentions clear, I am pitting. So I think it's a courtesy thing, and I gotta say, respect for that.
Yeah, and he's actually not lost too much time either. He's on the soft tyres, so expect him to capture the back of Knowsley pretty soon, as Raikkonen has got 12 seconds out penalty, so he's flying, but he's picked a lot of penalties, and he may, if he's not careful, he may be getting disqualified if he keeps that up.
Yeah, I can tell you, in another league I used to commentate for, I've seen this happen where a driver on this track got so many penalties that he was at the end of the race, or not even at the end of the race, it was, I think, 21 laps in, 22 laps in, he was disqualified. So just after the the halfway point of the race, he was disqualified. That's probably not going to happen to Raikkonen. If he does get disqualified, it will be near the end of the race, but he already has 12 seconds of penalties, and he needs to be very, very careful. I think once you get 25 seconds, so 27 then, so 9 penalties, I think then you're out. But you have to be very, very careful. At 12 seconds is halfway there, and we're at the halfway point of the race. So, yeah, this is getting dangerous.
Yeah, crucial move for Zach. He's got past Samsa, but Samsa's fighting it around the outside here, but Zach's got it done, and he's up to 3rd place. Now, he needs to pull away to alleviate that penalty.
Yeah, I think he needs to close in on Raikkonen Midnight. The best opportunity for Zach will be if Raikkonen and Midnight start battling. If they start battling, they start losing each other time, then he's got a chance. But again, he also still has that 5 second penalty that he has to serve at the next pit stop. He can't get away from that, and he can't get it removed after the race either.
No, he served it, yeah. So,
yeah.
So be tough luck, but Samster loses it a little bit out of turn one. That's going to really affect his run. But luckily for him, he does have DRS, so he'll just be able to hang on the back of DRS of the Haas driver. Maybe this could help Sam pull away from Lakitu if he could just hang on the back of that DRS and let Zach pull away with Zach. But Lakitu, he's looking good. He's looking like he's slightly quicker than Samster at the moment. And Matt and Slash are battling for 6th place, but Slash gets through in those fresh softs. I think Matt is struggling for grip now.
Meanwhile, Larkin was in the pit lane. He switched onto the medium, so he wants to take these mediums to the end. 18 laps now. I reckon that's not the right strategy call. Taking the medium, they can do it. Obviously, he will make it to the end, but you don't want to use the mediums for that long. So I'm really questioning this early pit stop from Larkin. Like, yes, he gets an undercut, but it's too early. He will lose so much time over the latter parts of this race, in the second half of this race, really, that it's not really worth it this early.
It'll be a sit and duck at the end, and I think Raikkonen, has he got DRS on midnight? Not quite, but I think he will up the hill.
He will now, yeah. He used all of his DRS to get it.
Yeah, so he doesn't have much to fight with, but he presumably save a little bit this lap and just try and close in naturally and then have an attack the next lap. But he's got a lot of penalties, Raikkonen, so he's going to have to really just go flat out. I think that's his strategy. He has to go flat out, really, and just hope for the best.
Yeah, also one thing to note here is that Raikkonen has basically almost depleted his fuel with regards to where the target is. He is less than half a lap over fuel. He's using lean mix now because he is sort of within range of midnight. He's saying, look, where it's slow, I don't need to use that much fuel. And he wants to save some, but he doesn't have much to play with. However, there's someone looking even worse right now on fuel. Samster, yeah, he's got barely a 10th over target, which is really nothing. A 10th of a lap. If he runs rich mix for half a lap, he'll be at 0. So being able to run rich mix for half a lap and then that's it. Yeah, that's tricky. He's doing it right now. He will have to use lean mix at some point to save some. I think that's for sure. But we have a yellow flag. Second one, that's Glock out.
Where is he? He's been out turn 1. Yeah, exit turn 1. Yeah,
let's see. On board with Larkin here. Oh yeah, there on the right side he was. Yeah. Oh man, that is unfortunate. We might be able to see him from Gil's perspective as well, just to see. Yeah, there he is.
Oh yeah.
And he's removed now. But yeah, that's his race over. Very, very unfortunate, very unlucky there for Glock. His race done after qualifying in P10.
Yeah. Speaking of fuel, I'll tell you who is looking good.
Oh, Raikkonen in the pits. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Raikkonen in the pits now. He will go onto the medium tyres. He has used softs on his starting stint. Softs on his second stint. He has to use the mediums now. 15 laps it will be for Raikkonen, and he will get a good undercut on midnight as well.
Yeah, he will. Yeah, and that's just a perfect range for me in tyres. 15 laps. That's what my shift strategy was. Yeah, and he's going to come out. And Dan Murphy Barnes pitted, so that's crucial for him. That's one less car to deal with, and he's got a clean air. So Raikkonen will have to do a couple of qualifying laps here and try and pull that gap on midnight. Zach. I think Zach is 4 seconds to midnight.
Lakitu and Smash, Lakitu and Smash are battling. Slash now up to P4, Lakitu P5, so they have switched positions. And yeah, the question is really going to be who's going to be the next one to pit. Let's look at the tyre situation right now. I reckon, yeah, I think everyone could be the next one, but it's probably going to be midnight next. Question is when. He's staying out for another lap, that's for sure. He just went past the pit lane. But I reckon everyone at this point, because they've all done one stop, or they've all done one stint, I should say, on the softs and one stint on the mediums. So they've done that part. They all will go on to the softs. The top 9 will all go on to the softs for their final stint. And this could get very, very interesting. Right now, I would also say as Lakitu and Slash are battling again.
Got wing damage.
Yeah. Slash has got wing damage. Yeah, 18. No, sorry. My eyes are bad. 38%. Can't read properly. Apologies for that. I wear glasses already, but apparently they don't function properly. 38% wing damage, so it's a mildly damaged wing. It's not completely gone, but it certainly harms him in this sort of corner. He's struggling mightily there to just stay with Lakitu. And he will probably pit sooner rather than later, I reckon. Although, again, lap 23 a bit early for the pit stop. Possible, but a bit early. Let's look at Slash. He's doing it, yep. Oh, we have a bad bug there. Sorry, apologies for that. We had the rev glitch once again. Apologies for that sound.
So
and
Cliffy will jump. He will jump Slash in the pit. So Cliffy's got a lot of fuel left, so he's going to be really aggressive at the end of the race.
Yeah.
I think he's got too much fuel, though, I think. He's got nearly 3 laps. 2.5 laps. Well, Cliffy said
no, it's fine. So. It's fine. The one thing to note is that for 1 lap, if you run it in rich mix from beginning to end, you'll lose about 1/3 of a lap over target. So so 3 laps and it depletes by 1. So with 2.6 over target, I would reckon that he can go 8 full laps of rich mix, and with 13 laps left, I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, although he's using lean mix. Okay, now he's back to rich. All right, I was worried there.
But it's quite interesting though, because Slash and Cliffy are going for different tyres. Slash gone with softs, Cliffy's gone for the medium, so I only presume Cliffy has no fresh softs left, and Slash. But even worn softs will get 12 laps. I'm quite surprised he's gone for the mediums there.
Yeah, meanwhile, 4 drivers in: Zach, Midnight, Konzo, Matt, all coming in. Samson, Lakitu probably stayed out because they couldn't come in because their teammates were already in, so double stack was not an option, especially not for Lakitu because his teammate Zach was also serving a 5-second penalty here. Yeah. And he is now back out on track behind Midnight by about 7 seconds. Make it 8. Yeah, just about 8 seconds. There's Larkin right on the back of Zach now. But Larkin still has to... No, Larkin does not have to pit. Apologies. Larkin has done his pit stop, but he's on the mediums now. This would really be bad for Zach if a medium runner here would get ahead of him. But this is not happening. Zach has such a good launch out of the corner on these fresh softs that Larkin wasn't even close. Unbelievable, this.
Yeah, maybe if F1 didn't have tyre warmers, might be a possibility there, but they do, unfortunately, for Larkin, and Zach does keep the position. As Samson's in, so he's covering his fellow rivals, and he'll go on soft the air now. What will
Lakitu stayed out. Yeah, Knowlesy, meanwhile, is coming in. Ooh, this got a little bit tricky there on the pit entry, but again, if you make your intentions known, both drivers know what they're doing, and both drivers know what the other ones do. That's the more important part. And so Knowlesy took the pit entry there in between or inside the white line, and therefore showed Midnight that he was intending to pit, and it all worked out quite well. But Knowlesy here now coming out, he'll be in P12 ahead of Gil, who still hasn't rejoined, but behind everyone else. And Lakitu, let's look at him. I think right now he's going to rejoin behind Larkin. If he pits now, it will be just behind Larkin, maybe within DRS range for the 3rd detection point, or for the detection point in turn 3. Let's say that it's called the 2nd detection point on the lap, but it's really for the 3rd DRS zone. So it's a bit confusing always because one of the DRS straights, and here he comes. One of the DRS straights is obviously on the main straight, and so it's a bit confusing. But the 2nd detection point before turn 3, he should get the DRS off Larkin there. Although it might get tricky, actually. 17.2. Oof, this could get close. Here he comes. Good stop. What was the time for his pit stop there? That was a 2.6 seconds. Wasn't too great. Slightly over average. And there is Larkin. There is Larkin. He's ahead. That was, apparently it was a good pit stop. Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah, maybe Larkin made a mistake on his previous lap, but yeah, that's quite surprising.
Could be.
Yeah, Larkin did a 106.1 on his last lap, so I think he made a mistake somewhere. So yeah, that's quite a...
If he did, that mistake would have happened in the last 2 corners. Maybe the final corner.
Wide, maybe. And that's costing the position now. Lakitu he's 2 seconds behind, 2.5 seconds behind his teammate. And Zach, that penalty did cost him because he's come out back behind Samster again, so he's got to get past the Mercedes yet again.
Yeah. But I think that was to be expected for him, because obviously he knew he had that penalty, so he knew he's going to have to clear that Mercedes once again. But what a race, I have to say, so far. We see the championship leader retire after, 5 laps or whatever it was? Very early on. Then we see a guy who's had so much bad luck over the course of the season, now leading the race on the best tyre, 1.5 seconds outside of the DRS range of Raikkonen, just leading the way. A guy, by the way, in Midnight, who's always, at the end of every season, been in the top 3 of the tier that he was in, which is a remarkable thing in and of itself. I mean, it's hard enough to be in the top 3 of your tier at the end of one season. But to do it over and over again, and plenty of those times in the top tier, the Pinnacle, Prestige tier, whatever it was called, he was always at the top. Always in the top 3. Absolutely remarkable. 4 seasons in a row. And it's going to be tricky this season, I tell you that much, with the bad luck he's had. He only has 8 points so far. But certainly a win would help him get onto that track and would help him maybe salvage this season somewhat.
Yeah, but at the moment he's projected to go up to 8th in the championship on 33 points. So yeah, this will really benefit him, as Cliffy set the fast lap, I believe, but he's outside. No, it's the keeper sets fast lap, sorry. And the two Hasses are starting to close in on Samster. So Samster's podium, he hasn't had the podium yet this season. It's not in the bag yet. But Raikkonen's penalties may help Samster, because Samster's got 3 seconds, while Raikkonen's got 15, I believe.
Yeah, penalties could really shake up this whole result. The one driver who's looking really good right now on penalties, I would say, is Samster.
Yeah, and Konzo as well. Konzo hasn't got a penalty yet, so he's only 14 seconds off the lead. So look at this, the whole field only said like 20 seconds, which is quite incredible for this take. Sometimes you get it spread out, but I think this track has definitely closed drivers up.
Yeah, and looking at the tyres, I'd reckon that, for example, in Knowlesy should get a little bit closer, maybe get dangerous for Cliffy and Dan. Then we have Slash, Konzo, and Matt, who should get dangerous. Oh, Cliffy in the pit lane again.
Yeah.
Damage? No
damage. Cliffy's out the race. Zach's got to run on Samster here, but the corner's going to come up just in time. No, yeah. Zach's going to have a good opportunity.
He's going to get him here. Watch.
Yeah, easy.
DRS down the inside. Samster doesn't even defend it. He doesn't even try. I think here's the thing. I think I know what Samster's thinking now. Samster's thinking because the drivers know the penalty situation of the guy in front and the guy behind. So Samster knows his own, obviously, 3 seconds, but he also knows that Zach has 6 seconds. So he's probably thinking, hey, if I can stay with Zach until the end of the race, I'll get the position back. I think that's his attempt right now. He's got 1 lap fresher tires. It's not much, but it's something. I think the proper meme way of saying it would be it's free real estate. But it certainly is something. And he gets the DRS 3 times every lap, which should help him stay close. And he's got a 3-second buffer to play with. So everything is in Samster's hands right now regarding that final podium spot. Yeah, and they're both catching up to Raikkonen as well, so they won't get him on track anywhere. But yeah, Samster's looking for 2nd place, and you never know if Midnight gets another penalty, Samster might win this race. But it's saying here Midnight's got 6 warnings, so he needs to get another 3 warnings for that to happen. I don't see that happening. Yeah, I don't think so either. In fact, Samster might probably be closer to his 2nd penalty. He's got 4 warnings, so he can only afford 1 more warning to get away scot-free. If he gets 2... Oh, never mind, he's on 5 now. He cannot afford any more warnings, or he would get a penalty. And so he's... there's Raikkonen with another one. 18 seconds now. Right. You know, Raikkonen may not even score a point here. He might even score a point, looking at this. Yeah. I would be surprised if he drops out the points. Yeah, well, the gap to Knowlesy is a bit too much because Knowlesy also has 9 seconds, so there's still a 9-second difference between on penalties that Knowlesy has ahead of.
Get him here easy down the straight.
Yeah. Now 5 seconds from Zach to Midnight. They're on like their tires have the same age. I think what's going to happen here is obviously I'm pretty sure the IGK guys are talking.
Yeah.
Even though they're on different teams here in One Hub, they are obviously on the same team. I think they might be talking in voice chat with each other. I reckon Raikkonen is going to be some sort of rear gunner for Zach and hold off Samster and allow Zach to pull away. Because Zach obviously knows as well that Samster has 3 seconds of penalties. And Zach now has 9. Oh, that could really hurt him right there. That's the one thing he was not wanting to get. Now he needs to hope for... Oh! I was about to say it. Thankfully, he sort of circumvented the commentator's curse by preempting it. And I was about to say, what Zach needs to hope for is that Samster gets another penalty. As I was about to say it, it happened. So it was not a commentator's curse because I wasn't even finished with the sentence. Thank goodness. But...
Slash going side by side into turn 3. Does Larkin get the move done? No, but it's got to get DRS. Going to have a better run into turn 4. It should get this done under braking on the outside though, so it might be a bit tricky for him. Slash it. Larkin is defending. No.
He wants the cutback. He wants the cutback. It's not there. Look at that. Larkin covers it off fantastically, and Slash cannot find a way past it. Larkin is not on the best tires. Needs to be said. 13 laps old mediums. They are still slower than the softs, not by much, but the mediums are still slightly slower at this stage of the race. I would estimate about 2 to 3 tenths per lap. It's not much, but it's certainly a disadvantage that Larkin finds himself at.
Yeah, it's
Raikkonen. 21.
I tell you what, he's very lucky. This is not a 75% race, because if it was, he'd be disqualified.
Very much so, yeah. Very much so. But he needs to be careful now in the last couple of laps. I would not risk another penalty if I was him. I just I just do what the Mercedes engineers told both Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton at this very race. Stay away from the curbs. Whatever you do, just stay away from them. Just don't touch them. Don't get near them. Don't look at them. Just stay away from the curbs at all times. And Raikkonen should be fine. But... yeah, right now it's getting close for him regarding a penalty. And the other question is, will Raikkonen try to be a sort of rear gunner for Zach? Doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it.
No,
it's not 3 seconds between Zach and Samster still. It's 1.2.
And the question is, will the Keto jump Zach here? Look at the gap. It's around the 3 seconds. It's around...
It's 4 seconds.
4 seconds. Oh, sorry, I was looking at Raikkonen, sorry.
Yeah. It happens. Oh, it's 4 seconds. So Lakitu is probably not going to get Zach. So right now it shapes up to be Midnight 1, Samster 2, Zach 3.
Larkin and Slash have been battling our past 2 or 3 laps, and the previous lap Larkin lost the position in turn 3, but in turn 4 he went right around the outside of Slash on the medium tyres and kept position. He's kept position again. Larkin on these mediums, he's doing a good job defending, but these softs we're starting to go off now, so that's going to make the job a little bit easier. Yeah,
as I say, between softs and mediums, obviously the delta is always destined to go down for the soft runner. The biggest advantage you have is once you come out of the pit lane. From then, it's just going downhill. And you see it right here. Slash had a massive advantage over Larkin when he came out of the pit lane. It was probably about a second. Now, the difference is a tenth, 2 if you're really generous. As we are now on the final lap of the race, Gil, okay, his AI car is pitting, but I don't think we're looking at him too much. Midnight, meanwhile, he's bringing this one home, it seems. He's got a couple of... I mean, to be fair, he's got a couple of corners left. That's half a lap, considering how few corners are here. But yeah, he has 5 corners left, and it will be Midnight. He's waited for this so long. He's only got 6 wins in his one-half career. He's been on the podium 24 times, but win, that's been a while. I'm trying to find it right now very quickly, but I can't do that in time. I was not preparing for this. As he comes across the line to take victory at the Austrian Grand Prix. Meanwhile, behind Zach, second for now, but Samster gets him on the line by a second. So Samster P2, he's back to his old form, I think. Zach P3, Lakitu for Haas. That's 27 points. Let's see who has the fastest lap. That's 28 points. That's 28 points.
Yeah, Haas made me fancy come back in constructors as good result. They say good result for him. But Midnight, what a drive from him, and I believe that's his third win in Austria. So he's probably petitioning for every race to be the Austrian Grand Prix.
I think we're gonna have the Styrian Grand Prix next week, followed by the Red Bull Grand Prix the week after. I think that's what he's asking for now. Look at those moves! Look at those moves! I have to say. But I'm still trying to find Midnight's last win. And fun fact, I'm in season 14 and I still haven't found it. So I'm still looking through right now. Obviously, we don't have a big stats team behind us that can just feed us sort of statistics during the stream. So I'm going to have to do this right now. And looking at it, I mean, I still haven't found it.
No, it's a while ago then.
It is a while ago. It was here. It is. It was round 7. Amazingly, it was round 7 of season 13. Now guess the track.
Here, Austria.
It was Austria, indeed. Yeah, he won his last race at Austria season 13. Gone winless since, and now after over a year, he's come back to Austria and wins this race. Unbelievable. Jamie, who's your driver of the day?
I have to go for Midnight for the win. I mean, and the pole position. I mean, that's just incredible for him. And my question for him is after your season so far, did you feel like you could get this win? Did you feel? Oh, sorry. After this season you've had so far with the bad luck and the DNFs, did you feel like did you give up hope? Did you think you had this capability to win the race again? And also, and that's my question. Sorry.
Okay, my driver of the day. I'm always going for the sort of underdog stories, and I gotta say, starting from P15 on the mediums and finishing in P5 is a pretty good underdog story. We haven't covered him much this race, but it's the best result of the season for Konzo. And I have to say, I mean, he's been very, very good. He's been on the podium 3 times last season, but a 5th place after starting from P15 and on this tier where, you know, he's never been in the top tier of One Hub before and get a P5 like this. The question I would have for him is, what was sort of his thinking early on / halfway through the race regarding where he could end up, and also how much does he think, I know it's 2 questions, apologies, but I want to know this too, how much does he think did his staying mostly penalty free, he only got 3 seconds, how much did that play a role in this result, in getting a top 5 and finishing as good as he did, or as well as he did?
Yeah, that's a good question. And obviously, I believe last season he raced in the position tier. So
yes.
He got 2 tiers effectively. The position tier was the 3rd tier last season, so that's good effort from him. And also, we've got to thank our sponsors again. I'll thank obviously Liam 1-3. Yes, yeah. He races in the prospect tier, my tier, and he streams his races every week. And I believe he's streaming platforms. I believe he's on Facebook Gaming now, so check him on there.
He's on Facebook.
Races live.
So if you guys want to check him out, fb.gg/Liam13, not the numbers, the actual words 13. And also thanks to our other sponsor, Next Level Racing, who's going to provide the wheel stand for the winner of the Going Gets Tough award, which rewards those drivers who aren't necessarily at the top of the standings every season, but who still show up, do their media day stuff, and continue and finish their races. So big thanks to all those drivers who do that. They are the ones that obviously keep us running and keep these races exciting, but also thank you very much to Next Level Racing for honoring that sort of commitment from those drivers. That being said, next race will be the US Grand Prix. We will head to COTA, to the Circuit of the Americas. That will be next week, September 25th, 8:30 p.m. UK. That will be the race, and I can't wait. I mean, it's a track that's... The city near the track is basically named after me. I mean, my name's Austin, the city's Austin. I think it's named after me, so I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, it should be good, and obviously that track is based on... A lot of that track is based on real life, like Silverstone and Turkey and such, so yeah, it's an interesting track, and yeah, and sometimes it does rain in Texas sometimes. We have seen it rain there, so we might get a bit of rain there next week.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.